Alright guys, I want to do a video about Hi-Point for shit hit the fan. Now, the next couple videos I'm going to do will be on Hi-Point modifications, and I'm leading up to the final Hi-Point modification video with everything in it that I recommend. But I'm going to do some other videos I'm going to edit into it. It'll be some old footage, some new footage. I'm just going to compile it all together. Going to be a long one. It'll be probably all the stuff that I wanted to learn, that I wanted to do. It took me forever, years, and tweaking here and there to get it down. So I'm going to put in one video for those people out there that have one of these and want to modify them a bit. You do them at your own risk, but I'm going to show you what I've done, and you choose if it's right for you. But the next couple videos will be Hi-Point until I finish it off with that one video, and then I'm done with them unless I get any requests. Now, I want to talk about Hi-Point for shit hit the fan. The pros and cons. Everybody's done it, but I figure I might as well go ahead, because in the videos, that's what people will ask me. And I'll get into it now. Again, check out is Hi-Point a good option for personal protection and home defense? I went over all the pros and cons compared to other guns, and some of it was warranted. Some of the complaints that this thing gets, guns 2-3 times more expensive get the same, have the same issues. So it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Check that out if you're kind of up in the air. Now, the positive on this will be a short video, but the positive, these guys are accurate guns, right? The trigger is a little mushy, but once you learn to work with it, it's a solid gun, right? Because the way the trigger, it's not just pulled back, it's got a pin here, so it kind of slides up into the side. So if you're not used to it, it can throw you off. But once you get the trigger down, it's an accurate gun, right? And it comes with the ghost sights too, so if anybody likes those. I'm used to 3 dots, so that's what I stick with. This sucker, as we've seen from Iraqi veterans videos, no matter what load you put in this gun, right? Plus P, no matter what you put into this damn thing, it will not blow up. There's some guns out there, inexpensive guns like Jimenez and Cobra, even Taurus. Sometimes there's some stuff out there you'll hear about cracked barrels, or the frame, or just it's not like the trigger spring gave out or something. It'd be some pretty serious stuff sometimes, and not all the time, but every so often. Here, you don't have to worry about hurting yourself, right? These guns don't have a reputation for hurting the people firing them. Maybe the person in front of the barrel, but not behind it, right? So this thing, you're not going to be hurt by this thing blowing up in your hand, right? Another positive is that these things are inexpensive as hell. You can arm a bunch of people with these, right? And for the price of 1 Glock, you can get 3, maybe even 4 of these guys. If you get them used somewhere. I got this guy for 80 bucks at a pawn shop. That's dirt cheap, right? I've had it for a while. If I wanted to sell it now, hey, I can make some money off that, right? So they definitely hold their value, and if you get a good deal, then you've actually I've gained, and then I made it into a solid gun. They're about 90-95% reliable. They're meant for recreational guns, but I've tried to make this guy into something that's going to function as well as anything else, and I seem to have done it. Just mainly the mags, and that's coming up in the new video. But I've done a couple things to the guns too. But they're very inexpensive. You can arm a lot of people. Now, here's on the flip side of it. They're inexpensive right now. During a SHTF, WROL, and somebody needs a gun. Let's say, I don't know, your neighbor, you're cool with him, and he has no gun. You got a couple for yourself, and he's like, man, I got to go somewhere. Or, if he's cool, you don't want to hand out firearms to people you don't know for sure. Well, you grew up together. Maybe it's a family member, somebody you know you can put a gun into safely. Well, this could be worth a lot more than what you paid for it, especially in the SHTF, right? Something like this can really have some value. A way to defend himself, and you've got extra mags and ammo, you know. Say you and the neighbor working together, you know, you're looking out for the neighborhood. Well, I mean, are you going to feel better if he's out there keeping an eye on things? And let's just say you're taking turns. You can feel better if he's out there with a baseball bat with barbed wire like Negan, or if he's got something like this where he can throw lead at bad guys that may throw lead at him, right? You have to wake up in the middle of the night and grab everything and he's already at a disadvantage. No, you could put something like that in his hand. Or you would go somewhere, say there's some sort of swap meet or someplace, you know, things get really, really bad. I mean, I'm not looking at Mad Max type, but let's just say things got like that and there's some kind of swap meet. You go in there with something like this, maybe, you know, you don't want to hand somebody a loaded gun. They might use it against you if things are really bad and there's no law enforcement and there's, you know, every man for himself. But you could, you know, if you know he's under, okay, look, hey, let's go out there. I got 1 round here or 2 rounds to put in the chamber. We'll go out there, test fire it, and then you can get a lot more than you paid for it because, hey, this right here, it can defend somebody, it can protect their life, right? This would it'd become very valuable in a situation like that. Right, and they're inexpensive now, so if you got a couple and they got stolen, you wouldn't be out that much money. Now, negatives. Of course, you know, the elephant in the room is they're heavy. Right? Now, given that, SHTF, I love 1911s. Right, I had a high standard 1911. I had a Colt 1991 A1. Right? And I love that thing. That was my second gun. I sold it off during the assault, when they were trying to pass the assault weapons ban. And I really wish I wouldn't have done that. Because I'm like, well, I just bought a bunch of stuff, you know, high cap stuff. I'm like, well, if this does get passed, I'm going to be set up now. And my plan was to just go and buy another one or buy it back. However, I didn't get a chance. Something came up. You got little ones. Of course, you know. So, but I wish I would have kept it. But I love them. But hey, man, I wouldn't carry a 1911 anyway. That's just me. Heavy. It's got a big, beefy round, you know, 45. But limited rounds, kind of heavy. It wouldn't be my first choice. Now, I love that gun. I rely my life on it. But, you know, it wouldn't be my first choice, and neither with this. Limited round count, same thing. There you go. I would like something with a bit more rounds, right? Especially if things are, you know, it's a madhouse. Law enforcement's overwhelmed. You got riots and stuff. Whether, you know, LA riots or Ferguson or just people don't like the way an election turned out, so they decide to flip over cars and blow stuff up and burn buildings. I don't care what the hell the problem is. I'm going to protect my family, right? So I would like more rounds, but if I had to, I would take this guy. I'm going to defend him no matter what the hell it is. I'm not going to let my family get hurt. But I would prefer not to have to reload if I had to, right? So, me, I prefer a bit more capacity. Something that's a real issue, and I'm going to get into in the video, is the weak springs, man. Right? After, you know, you can fire and fire and fire, but let's say you really got to do some shooting, or you're at the range, you put a lot, you'll wear the springs down. If you shoot every now and then, it'll be fine. But, you know, you do target practice, you go out to the range, you got 3-4 people using this gun, constantly putting rounds through it, man, you'll weaken them springs more than you would anything else. So, the weak springs are an issue for me, and I'll get into that in the new video coming up. What you can do, 2 things you can do about that. Magazines and parts are going to be harder to find on something like this. That's another negative. Glock, Beretta 92, 1911, you know, M&Ps. You'll be able to find magazines and maybe, you know, a broken gun. Maybe you can take parts out of. But I'm not sure how many Hi-Points you're going to run into. It maybe depend on your part of the country. Maybe if you're in Ohio where these things are manufactured, maybe there's quite a few out there. But, you know, like Texas, I don't really see that many at the range. So I don't know how many people have them here. So you might not find replacement magazines and replacement parts. Not that you know, besides the springs, I don't really see you needing any other parts. But magazines and springs for the gun, those you do need and you probably wouldn't find, so you're going to want extras. But anyway, that pretty much sums it up. That's all I can really think of. I went through most of it in that other video I was talking about. But just to sum it up for Shit Hit the Fan, that's my personal thoughts on Hi-Point in that situation. Alright guys, y'all have a good one.